Welcome to Trifecta Unfiltered. 3 women, too much coffee, and 0 filter. We're talking real life, loud growth, and fearless conversations. Hit follow, subscribe, and let's get into it.
All right, so this is episode 2, After the Leap, Becoming Her in the Messy Middle. So last week we talked about fear, the kind that tries to stop you from starting. But what happens after you face the fear, you take the leap, and you do the damn thing? What no one really warns you about is the aftermath, that the emotional crash or the imposter syndrome, the awkward quiet that comes after the bold move that you make. Sometimes it's confusion, self-doubt, and wondering, did I just mess everything up? So what really sticks out to me is that aftermath, right? The imposter syndrome is what I like to call it. I can kind of think they coincide. Do you guys have
Okay, so for anyone who's listening that doesn't quite know what imposter syndrome is, could you layman terms that for us? Could you just explain it?
For me, my concept of imposter syndrome would be, you should be in the place that you're at, but you have all these self-doubts of, am I worthy enough to be in this room, right? Whatever room that is for you. Do you guys agree with that?
I feel like there's different levels to that, and I feel like each person is going to feel it differently because some people could just look at it as am I really the right person to be here? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You kind of still hold
that
on
self-doubt,
to the old person that you were, and you're wondering if you're worthy of being this new person.
Yeah, to go deeper, it's why are we even at the place of, if we've done the thing, right, that scared us the most, and now we've leveled up, if we don't even feel like we've leveled up, we've done it, right? Why should we even end up in the imposter syndrome? You know what I mean?
I think that a lot of people experience situations differently because based off of whatever it is that they did, there might be repercussions. They might have lost somebody, their physical body may have changed. So I feel like that all plays a role.
I think our brain wants to revert back to a comfort zone and identity that we are so accustomed to. So it's just
easy.
like opening the door and looking at something differently. It's forcing your brain to expand, and let's not forget, our brains are caveman brains. They're meant to help you survive. So when you put something that's not really evolving in an evolved state, I feel like it will always revert to a comfort. Even if it's the higher you or whatever you might think is bigger than you, right? Everyone believes in something, I think, a higher power. Even if that is where you're supposed to be and that has put you in that higher state, your brain will try to make sense of it in a way that is comfortable for what you're used to being in. So it's completely new to you. So I think imposter syndrome is common, and I think it's part of the growth process to continually level up because you have to challenge your thoughts.
I feel like it's physical also because they say that when your body's used to a certain thing, like a certain pattern or a certain mindset, or even the food that you're eating,
Your habits.
it's literally trying to go back to that route because that's the easiest route. And we don't want the easiest route because you need to challenge yourself to grow.
Right.
So kind of what I'm getting is imposter syndrome isn't proof that you're unqualified for anything. It's just proof that you're expanding.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So that's your brain panicking and you've just stepped into the version of yourself and now you're trying to get fully caught up, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
And you don't have any experience being this leveled up person.
Right.
So that's where the self-doubt, that's where these negative thought patterns that we all have, you have 60,000 thoughts a day, everybody has negative thoughts. That's where you have an option to continue to level up and not take your thoughts to heart if they're negative, but to interchange those negative thoughts with positive ones to remind you why you took the step to begin with. if that makes sense.
Perfect. So has any of you ladies ever been in the moment where you've realized you're still showing up as your old version instead of the new version of you that you've like stepped into?
Absolutely. I feel like I challenge myself every day to catch myself in those situations and be like, okay, is this what you're envisioning for yourself, for your future self? Like, are these behaviors or actions guiding you in that direction, or are they guiding you backwards?
I think other people trigger you into the backstepping because they haven't leveled up, maybe. So they're not used to this revised version of you. It scares them, right? And it might, in their minds, create distance between you and them because they're not there yet. And so maybe somebody would say something like, give you a little bit of an attitude about whatever you're feeling about yourself to try to put you back in that place that makes them feel comfortable.
Oh yeah.
So I would say other people definitely trigger.
I mean, how many times have you made a post on social media and you're like, oh, I feel amazing, and somebody's like, oh, well, look at her, she thinks she's, top notch, and you like start questioning whether or not you should have posted it or not, and that's...
Oh yeah, I question everything about like, who's gonna comment what, right?
Yeah, for sure. So what tips might you have for somebody that's feeling the feels of being in this imposter syndrome as they're leveling up? Have you used any tools or anything to help you get out of that headspace and into the evolved space that you really want to be in?
Honestly, I think it's a big trigger for me. I don't know if I could give any sound advice because I think no matter what, I come back to that. Oh my goodness. Of course. I come back to imposter syndrome no matter if I think that it's valid or not. I think reframing my mind lately, I've been trying to understand that, just like I said, I think it's proof that you're expanding yourself and you're not quite caught up yet. So you just need to keep envisioning the person that you're going for, who you're trying to become, and just become her before it's.
So you're saying it's in your mental space where you have the tools to reframe the thoughts to get you back to the positive minded.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're showing up in a room full of surgeons, I don't want to be a surgeon. Like, there's no way I'd be an imposter in there because I don't want that.
Right.
But if you show up in a room full of people who are about to get on stage, everyone's like, my mind's like, should I be in this line getting on stage with everyone? Like, I don't belong here.
Because you want it.
Because I want it, yeah. And so it's just putting yourself as, I've already achieved this. I know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, that's powerful. So then it does come back to your
It's all mindset, yeah.
Do you have any, Kiri, do you have any advice for overcoming or working through the imposter syndrome as it comes up? I feel like people want to hear solutions to this. And I know that that's a really good one, is to reframe your thoughts.
I mean, I feel like a lot of it comes from our own past traumas. So I feel like, even approaching it not fully healed, you can still be like, okay, I am worthy of this. So it's a lot of self-talk and reflection. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely days where I'll sit in it and dwell, but it's that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to plant the seed and water it and give it space and let it grow and not chop the freaking bloom off with hedgers and revert back to your normal self, you know?
I feel like we all give ourselves a day of pity party, and then all of us are slap each other. Get back into it. You're fine.
So that's a good solution. So putting a time on your wallowing thoughts and let it be there, because I feel like suppressing isn't the answer.
You have
That
to
one.
feel it. You have to feel the feelings
Yeah.
because it's like, you're just going to push it down and then it's just going to get worse.
Feelings
Like,
are
Yeah.
meant to be felt, and when you're feeling them, they're uncomfortable sometimes. But when you're in the space of knowing something is right for you, you're in alignment, and your undertone of feeling will be, we're going to get through this. This is just part of the process. So it is a lot of internal dialogue, putting a time frame on it. Okay, literally, I'm setting a timer for 3 minutes. I'm setting a timer for an hour. I'm going to sit in my bed for 2 hours. And when that time is over, I'm done with this thought. It
Exactly.
does not happen. It's not welcome.
Yeah, I am 100% in that boat. I always give myself a time. Like,
That's really
I
smart.
am going to feel the feels. And then once this is done, I'm getting up and I'm going back at it.
What do you guys think about verbalizing the imposter syndrome feelings you're having with people that you trust? Do you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing? Because you're looking outside of yourself for someone that may not be in that space to validate you.
I guess it depends on the person because, I mean,
what I was gonna
like,
say.
I mean, even in the last episode, you mentioned like not sharing everything with everyone and being careful of who you let in. It's very temperamental, I think, because if you share these feelings with someone else, then it has the potential to make it even worse. Definitely share with people that you fully trust.
And people that have leveled up, that you look up to in a way that you have seen them go through it. I feel like somebody that's experienced it can offer like a real, way through it, versus someone who's just like, well, wait, I don't want you to be there. Subconsciously,
There's no
I'm not.
I think so. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're asking. So are you asking, like, do you tell people when you're in the thick of it?
Yes.
So I think so. Let's take, like, if we were trying to be credited of something, right? What if you just beat them to the punch? Anyone that you're feeling unsure about, in the sense of like, I'm talking to someone I think has more credit than me, or I should be at their level, but I'm not yet. Like, kind of just throwing it out before they can ask you what you do or who you are, and those things is like, this might come off topic, I don't know, but if someone was to be like, well, what have you done? But if you throw it out there like, look, I'm brand new at this podcast. We don't know what we're doing, but we're showing up.
Yeah.
Like, the imposter syndrome right now for all of us, I think, is big, but it's like, look, we know this. We know this is new. We know that we have no clue what we're doing, but we're letting you know that we don't know. And
Yeah.
we're being raw. Like,
Yeah.
I think that helps us get out of our imposter syndrome too, because it's like, you're giving yourself a break.
And you're owning it.
You're owning that you don't know. Yeah.
And I think that's great to say, because when you take your power back, you realize you hold it, and when you give that to someone seeking validation, you lose it.
Yeah.
You lose it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think it all comes from within. And this is like the perfect example of how you could like literally just draw inside. And I mean, you could literally Google how to get out of imposter syndrome, right? I mean, there's got to be.
I don't think I've
something-
ever actually Googled it.
I think that we should.
Oh
right?
my goodness, what the heck?
I bet you it says exactly what we said. Reframe your thoughts, put a time limit on it, and then get out of it. Continue leveling up, and then be specific and intentional about who you might share these feelings with, knowing that whomever that is on your side, is a supporter, possibly has gone through it. And I think knowing that it's just part of the process of growing, it takes away the pressure of having it all figured out.
Yeah.
It's almost like a reward. You get
It's
imposter
letting it be
syndrome.
messy.
Yes. Congratulations, you're leveling up.
Okay, Google, call it out. Say it out loud. This is imposter syndrome. Naming it removes some of its power. So it's kind of what I just said, huh?
Yeah.
It's like the Labyrinth movie. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah, but
You have no power over me.
oh my gosh. Get the facts straight. It says imposter syndrome thrives in vague fear,
Oh,
which that's kind of,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's fear of the unknown. When you're leveling up, it's a new version of who you are. Therefore, you do not have experience being that person. So you're learning how to be this leveled up person.
Yeah.
I feel like give yourself grace as well.
That's kind of like putting a goal in your mind of who you want to be and just like showing up every day and taking the actions to be that person.
Yeah. So this is, and the last thing is like take action and flip the script. So who am I to do this? Don't ask yourself that. It's like, who am I not to do this? Like, of course
Love
I'm
that.
qualified. I've lived this or I've done this thing and I can share my experience.
So I like the fact that Google is saying seek validation from yourself,
Yeah.
not from others. I'm a big fan in that. I believe in that. I think people's natural instinct, especially when they're, I don't want this to sound bad, but when they're not fully confident in themselves, is to seek validation from people outside of themselves. And then what happens is they get smushed down because maybe the person that they're talking to isn't necessarily someone who's a leveler upper either, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those too.
That's really, really good stuff, guys.
That's when you kind of outgrow people, right?
Yeah, or I was going to say becoming before you believe. I feel like.
Well, I mean, I feel like as long as you're aligned with what you truly want, like deep inside, it's okay to like not be linear with it, but don't take step backs either. Like call
Okay, do you have an
yourself on
example?
your shits.
I feel like you're someone that's going through
Oh, I
this.
100% am, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Right. But there's power in that, in owning it and not having the answers.
But I've also found and called myself out many times on me trying to revert back to like old habits and old thoughts, and I'm like, fuck, I don't have time for this anymore. Like, I'll literally like stop it in its track and I'll be like, how can I rethink this, or how can I move forward from this, like in a way that's different from how I would handle it before.
That's
and
great.
It's brought a lot of peace, but it's also brought up a lot of like imposter syndrome for me too, because I'm like,
They all kind of fall into the same bucket.
it does.
Weird.
Interchangeable.
Yeah.
It does. But
So basically just live your life aligned with who you choose to be, that becoming her, right? Like
Right.
whoever that her is in your eyes, you need to live your life now as her.
but the thing is who she is, it changes.
Right.
Because
That's
as we evolve, like our goals and our thoughts and our patterns, they change too. So it's just like a constant cycle of just leveling up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you see it when you reach like a PR in the gym or something. You're like, okay, well,
Now what?
well, now I want to work towards something else.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so you have to constantly be aware of what you hold value in and what you want for yourself.
It could be for your career. It could be for a certain title that you want to achieve and you get it and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going up again. I want something more.
And that's okay, because 5 years from now, like, you might not want that anymore, and that's fine too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I think that would segue into outgrowing others, losing friendships or relationships as you grow.
Absolutely. You can't take everyone with you, nor are you supposed to, because some people are there for a reason and some people are there for a season.
And a lifetime.
And
Reason,
a
a season,
lifetime.
a lifetime.
Or a couple lifetimes.
Yeah.
We've all outgrown a lot of people, haven't we?
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting concept. When you change, everything around you changes. And the law of attraction is something that comes to me as like 100% what you are, you attract. And as you're growing and shedding people from your life because you're changing, you don't have as much in common with people that you thought you were really close to, or you just might start noticing things differently within those relationships and friendships that you're like, was this person always like this? You know, I don't think I remember realizing this.
Yeah.
Because
then
you are a different person too, probably.
100%.
I had this conversation with my daughter. It's like she wants to believe that people will be the same forever. And it's like, I was trying to explain to her that just even going to the gym, if you just change this one thing about anyone, you put them from never going to the gym to going to the gym, they're going to start seeing how many people do not live in the state of like aligning with health. And you're going to see that that involves discipline, and then it involves like motivation, and you're going to see the lack in everyone else who doesn't have that because you're starting to gain
And
it.
those traits are strong. Those are strong traits.
It's
and they make
crazy
strong
to
people.
know that like just one little change of yourself can make you see other people a lot differently. And it
so
makes
true.
them see you differently, and they
Makes you see yourself
judge.
differently.
Yeah. And people like to judge.
They do. It's easy. It takes the eye off of them. But I will say for me being sober now 10 years, that was a huge transition of life for me because my lifestyle changed. I was a partier. I drank to get drunk and have fun. It wasn't like, let me ride the bus. No. I was like slamming back drinks. And so I was hanging around with a lot of people that had that same concept of fun. And when I stopped drinking, a lot of my friendships changed because we didn't have that commonality. And not to say they're not great people. It's just that the thing that brought us together no longer
there.
brought us together. And then they would feel badly drinking in front of me. And I'm like, no, don't stop living your life because I'm choosing something different for myself.
It's almost a reflection of how they're judging themselves.
100%.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it
made them
comes
feel
back to
crappy
that.
about themselves.
It totally shines a light on where people are in their life when you start to change. And they don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I mean, they say...
Well, for me, I kind of feel like it was a little different. You're talking about like outgrowing people, but for me, I moved around a lot because I was a military wife. So constantly moving, I never wanted to open that door up, like to allow people in. And so when I finally did open that door, then I've like only opened it to like a certain kind of people. So I think that
You were protecting yourself.
I was protecting myself. Yeah. It doesn't really go with your outgrowing stuff, but
No, I mean, I
felt
think
like
it's
it was
protection.
fine.
Like
Yeah.
a shield of some sort.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's just important to say, like, when you're in a space of growth, your friendships are changing. This is a normal part of the process. They say, show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you your future. This highlights the strong influence your close circle of friends has on you and your life potential. So
That's
I
deep.
did some research on this. It's based on the idea that you are largely influenced by the people you spend the most time with and that their habits, values, and aspirations can impact your own. Which is pretty crazy, but it's true. Right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it all kind of
That's why I
like
need
it
to hang out
literally.
with
I think I've said
millionaires. No, I'm just
alignment.
teasing.
I think I've said alignment like 62 times already during this, but it's
a
like
great
everything
word.
you're doing in your life, like from the friends you hang out with to the friends that you lose to the relationships you gain or the job, it's all in alignment, and it should all very much be in line with what you want for yourself and for your future self.
So what about the people that are afraid to lose people that are important to them? Do we have any advice for that? I feel like...
I've heard a saying, how much poison do you drink before you die? Like,
Yeah.
there's only, I mean,
Yeah.
if they're impacting you in any way, I think it's safe to say that you can just move on. But it's still hard. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's been close family relationships that I've completely cut off for like 3-4 years, and I mean, we're talking again, but it's not like it was, and it's kind of like a safeguard, and it's okay to have those safeguards up if it's protecting your peace.
I think I'm more of the person that I don't cut people off. I shelter them from myself.
Explain.
So I almost like falsely put in the cutoff of like, I don't even know how to explain it. More like I can feel the awkwardness that there's tension, and it might just be all in my head and what I am assuming is there, but it's like going through a prep or this is kind of where I'm at in my life is most people look at me like, oh, you're eating out of a dish again? Like you're not going to join the family functions? And I've kind of put those own blocks in place because I know that I'm kind of the Debbie Downer every time I go somewhere because I'm always in some type of disciplined mode that in order for me to protect them, I'm just going to remove myself. And it's not really cutting ties. It's I'll do anything with you, but I'm making sure that I'm not making you feel awkward.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
If that makes any
It does
sense.
make sense. And it's crazy how like you'll internalize this, something you're trying to do that's better for your life,
Yeah.
a goal you have, and you'll shrink in a way
Yeah.
out of the picture entirely just so that you don't make someone else feel uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't want people uncomfortable with the way I'm choosing to fuel myself.
That's incredible. I mean, you're a bigger person than I. Because I will not do that. I've cut off relationships, friendships, family for that reason.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But if it doesn't bring you peace or happiness, I feel like the answer is no.
I also feel like it's like the same situation with you and your past friends when you were drinking. I kind of feel like those two stories are kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you're like, okay, well, this is no longer serving me, so I'm just going to move past it. Whereas, like, you can't really just, like, walk away, because they're, like,
Family.
Oh, yeah. Family is much different than friends.
Yeah, which is interesting how we're more tolerant with family than we are with friends. That was something that I had, like a talking point, because you're evolving, you're growing, and people are you're changing. The people aren't, they're stagnant. And your family members are not changing, yet you'll make, what's the right word? You'll make acceptances for them because they're your family. This is what we're taught, and I believe it's
Like blood is thicker than water. You
yes,
gotta
and
keep
I'm
them
like
around
smiling when I say this, but I personally think that's a limiting belief because I've had people in my family, not a lot, but talk down to me and put me down, and I wouldn't tolerate that from a stranger. Why would I tolerate that from someone who is...
Why do you think that you allowed that?
I don't. That's why I don't have that relationship anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the question is, why do we give this grace to quote unquote family members just because we have the same blood to treat us a certain way when we wouldn't tolerate that from a friendship? I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about that.
That's a hard one. I know. Because I feel like...
There's so many times families been there, even in times where it's not that, in like those situations.
I think this is a trauma response because in a lot of situations, like if you're in a bad situation and you get out of that situation, you look back and like when you go through a breakup, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but like you go through a breakup and you look back and like you remember the good things and
Yeah.
like there may be some bad things that you remember, but it's mostly good. And then you're sitting in this spot where you're like, well, what did I do?
I look back and most of mine are like, oh God.
I do think that the brain tends to, when you're missing something or you're in an uncomfortable place, your brain tends to think about the positives instead of like actually remembering what it was like being
It's
in
like
that
packs it away
situation.
like that Dreamcatcher movie.
It's very strange how your brain does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know what though? You mentioned friends. Like, why would you give friends like over family, things like that? I have to say that friends have come in higher on my list of being more supportive of me than most
100%.
family. And
100%.
I'm happy to say I must have done really well at choosing friends off the bat, because like, I mean, you girls are newer in my friend like life. I'm an adult now, right? So I have friends back from when I was still young, and those friends have stuck with me for a long time, and they've seen me grow from nothing to who I am today. And it's like they've been with me every step and encouraged me every time I've done something new. And it's nice to, when you've asked that question, to think, wow, they actually like really have supported me in everything I've done.
They're the
Never
family
questioned.
that you chose.
It's not for me, Kelly, but you go do you, and we're going to be here rooting for you. Those kind of
Because they're growers. Not showers.
Not
I know, I had to
showers.
say it. Because they're unconditional friends who adore you. So let's see. Not shrinking to fit other people's comfort zones. We do feel the need to shrink ourselves to not make other people around us uncomfortable. This shitty societal norm is no longer acceptable. We have to stop doing that. I do believe we're in an era of like rising up, leveling up. If you count how many times the word energy is used on all platforms, it's never been used so much in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People now realize that there's like an energy to everything. And so I feel like when we shine bright, when we exude happiness, when we're at peace, it often shines a light on those who aren't feeling those things. And it makes us feel badly because the younger little baby version of us wants to internalize everything and make it our fault. But I think we have to work to break through that pattern and that limiting belief, because the only way this world evolves is if we each individually level up.
Even if it means doing it messy.
Yes, absolutely.
I definitely don't think that I'm in a place where I care so much if someone likes me. I think I've just reached that level because my day and my life's gonna move forward and go forward whether you like me or not, you know? What's that saying? Like, you're not everyone's cup of tea.
That's right.
Well, it's okay. I
tequila.
like fucking
No.
coffee, okay?
Oh, I'm tequila.
I like coffee, and she might like lemonade, all right? So it doesn't even matter. But there are definitely still people out there that feel like, oh, well, this person doesn't like me. What can I change about myself to...
Yeah. Can I put some sweetener in my coffee to
Yeah, exactly.
meet their demands? I feel like I'm a mixture of that. One day I don't care, and the next day I'm like, I'll do what you want.
It's hard when you put yourself out there. I feel like that's what we're all doing right now, and it's like, it's scary. It can be messy. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're trying. You know, I feel like
Let it be messy.
let it be messy.
All right, guys. So let's close this, unless you guys had anything else to
No.
add to that.
No, do it messy.
I would
That's
just
our-
say to, oh, sorry, go
That's
ahead.
like
Go
our
ahead.
key thing. Do
Yeah.
it messy.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I just feel like I want to let people know that it's really hard when you outgrow people in your life.
It is hard.
I understand that, but I want to reassure you that you will meet your tribe, and
You can join ours.
totally, and you'll be grateful for those who you were with back then. I think being grateful for every phase of your life only further pushes you towards your excellence. And like I said, show me your top 5 friends and I'll show you your future. Like you will have to want more for yourself.
Yeah, and even if you do close the door on relationships, not using them as a negative, like, thing in your brain. Most people are there to teach you something. Use it as a positive, right? So even if it didn't end well, what did you gain from it? You've learned something about yourself in that situation, I'm sure. So
Yep. And
that's
something
kind of
you
where I'm
mentioned
at
to
in
me.
life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, even if you're not happy with who that person was to you, use that and spin it to a positive and make sure that you're aligning yourself, that word again, with what you've learned.
Yeah, because your elevated self wants that for you.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
don't want to go back down and meet them where they are. stay where you're at and continue to rise.
So
It's
should
worth
we
it.
end this episode kind of like we did last time?
Okay, so before we end on a journal prompt, let's recap. So you did the thing, you took the leap, you faced the fear. That was episode 1. Hopefully, the solutions we provided here in this episode 2 are helpful. We'd love to hear feedback from you. And I think now would be a good time to end on the journal prompt. Kiri, what do you think?
All right, y'all. Our journal prompt this week is how can you elevate yourself out of the messy middle and continue to level the fuck up?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.